your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePaola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, good Saturday morning. Welcome to another edition. It's Florida Talk Real Estate live on a Saturday, Father's Day weekend. And all you mother fathers, thanks for being with us. I see you out there. 92.1, 101.7, the old terrestrial radio. Thank you very much. Of course, if you have your free to download your iHeartRadio app, we are worldwide. Come on, get you some from whatever corner of the earth you're on. And of course, we live stream as well. I believe we are live streaming today. Find us on Facebook and on YouTube. That's Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube. Home of a ton of informational chunk videos to consume, plus our live stream on a Saturday morning. Great to have you with us right out the gates. And you're welcome to be a part of the program. If you got a question, comment, concern in the world of real estate, don't be shy. Dive on in. 877-927-6969. If you dial in, the first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of my brother from another mother. There's our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and a good morning, Jonathan. I didn't get to see you at the door. Usually I let you in, but Jim beat me to it. So how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Always
Excellent.
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you as well. Good to be seen.
And happy Dad's Day weekend to you.
Well, thank you, and happy Father's Day to you as well.
Thank you, my friend.
How old is that little munchkin now?
Little munchkin is 12.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. She's gonna be a teenager. She's like 30 is what she is.
Yeah. 12 going on 30.
Yeah, she's awesome though. It's good to celebrate Dad's Day when you got an awesome little booger to make you a dad.
Sure.
Yeah. And let's say hello to our fearless leader. 13 plus years now, I've told you, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. It's the Florida Home Pros, Keller Williams Innovations. There's Jimmy D, Jim DePaola. Happy Father's Day weekend, my friend.
Hey, happy Father's Day, Johnny. Happy Father's Day, Jimmy, and happy holidays, everybody, and happy South Florida. I'm really glad to have you here. So you're playing. I was trying to remember who were famous sunglasses people other than the Blues Brothers.
So it's funny. I'm like, why is it so dark in here? I didn't take my
Anybody not on Facebook or YouTube, Johnny has his shades on right now, and he's changing to regular glasses now. I was thinking of Ray Charles when he was doing that. Ray Charles and the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
I like the Wayfarer, those are my favorites. Are those like Wayfarers?
Ish.
Yeah, Wayfarer-ish. Yeah, because I like that style. Yeah,
ish. My first pair of prescription sunglasses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never done that before.
It's worthy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do it. You know what I do? I just put the glasses over the sunglasses. Right? It works out great.
So this is the first year that I was like, I think I got to do it finally because my vision's pretty good. I need assist for reading. Mm-hmm. And it's starting to it just deteriorates every year. It's starting to get a little fuzzy, a little, it's not the distance, but the like mid-range. So I was like, all right, let me rock it. Let me see what happens. What a difference though. Wow. Yeah. I mean, a big difference for daytime driving with real sunglasses. It's a worthy investment if you get down that path.
I'll have to check it out. I finally had to cave in and get glasses a couple of years ago. And I went to one of those like crafter stores or whatever like that. And
is it gonna bother you if I wear my glasses?
No, not at all. I thought it was funny. That's why I liked it.
Yeah, right. It's a bit bright.
So I had I went in there, they changed the lens things to figure out what you need and everything. And I bought like $600 of glasses, like 2 pairs, $300 a piece or something like that. It was expensive. And they did not work. I was so disappointed. I was like, I didn't get the right magnification or whatever. So I just go to Costco or whatever and just get these little cheap,
grab the readers off.
Yeah, and I get like 5 packs and I throw them everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I did forever.
Yeah,
until I get to the point where it's because I only really have one bad eye, so my left eye would always compensate for the right one being bad for all these years, and it eventually just got to the point where I couldn't. I had to get corrective because even my left one was starting to go a little bit. But same type thing. How long it took me to get used to the progressive.
Yeah.
You know, and now like as they get worse and worse over time, like Johnny's saying, I find myself doing this where I'm constantly looking down at the bottom, you know, through the bottom of the glasses. So your head's always tilted up now, you know, and it's like, I used to make fun of people that did that.
that is some probably a good week of getting used to, though. Your first time with glasses in general, right? Any kind of prescription, you're way off. Yeah. But then you go progressive, you got to find that sweet spot. Yep. It puts you in a weird headspace for like a week.
And depending, obviously, the distance. Now, I need it for up close. So, like, I don't wear them driving because I hate having them on when I drive because then, I have two different visions. I have my peripheral, which doesn't have corrective, you know. So it messes me up when I'm driving. Yeah. So I don't wear them then.
Get you some sunglasses and only do the distance, and then you don't have that.
Well, I don't need distance. I'm good.
I got you.
I'm farsighted, right? Is what they would say. So, I mean, I can read street signs from, just fine, safe wise. You know, I mean, it's nothing like that. So I just don't bother.
So you just put on regular old OG sunglasses.
Mm-hmm, yeah, nice. Just regular. You know, nice. $20. Yep. Mm-hmm,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Sweet.
Works out well.
It's a beautiful thing. Getting old. It's not for the weak. That's for sure.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
This is true.
The reason why Ross hasn't been around is he's gallivanting around, and right now he's in Idaho, hiking out there.
Oh, sweet.
He called me when he just flew into Idaho. He's on some kind of hiking trip to learn how to mountain climb or something.
That's cool.
Ross, right?
Nice.
And he said at the airport he saw Gary Brecka.
Oh yeah.
Which, do you know who Gary Brecka is?
It rings a bell.
He's like a health coach basically.
Okay.
And Ross is really into that stuff. And he's kind of connected to Dana White, is like one of his bigger clients.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe that's because that's what made him famous, was the Dana White thing. It was kind of funny. So he was a human biologist or something. He's not a doctor or anything, this guy, Brecka, but he does these kind of testing on your body to figure out what nutrients you're missing. And he got backed by Grant Cardone down in Miami, and then Grant, started promoting him, and then he got to Dana, and then Dana blew him up. Right?
Is he like all over social media?
Yes, he's all over the place. That guy.
Yeah, that's why I know him.
So anyway, Ross is a big fan, and he's already taken some of the testing that guy offers, like online testing and stuff. And he saw him at the airport, so he was all excited about that.
Oh, that is
and
cool.
then he had just flown into Idaho, and he was right at the base of the mountain getting ready to do the camp thing. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be sleeping in a tent for 3 days. There's no electricity, no water. So he's really camping it out
going
there.
Old school.
Yeah, he's going old school.
They call that primitive camping.
Yeah, Grizzly Adams.
No water.
Yeah, I know, right?
How's his weather? Imagine it's pretty nice.
I didn't even ask him that. I didn't ask him, but I'm sure. I hope for him it was awesome. So I think he'll be coming back tomorrow or something. So he'll be on the show supposedly next week.
Cool.
Mike just called in. He didn't tell me why. He just said, "Hey, do you mind if I'm not on the show this week?" I'm like, "Yeah, me and Johnny will." And Jimmy will handle it. We'll handle everything.
Got three powerhouses. That's right. I'll pretend to be a mortgage guy today.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's make stuff up. Let's today be like the April Fool's one. We'll just make stuff up. So call in, and we're going to give you fake answers. I'm teasing you.
And you get a mortgage, and you get a mortgage, and you get a mortgage.
How about you? Can you fog this mirror?
Yeah, exactly. Bring a mirror in.
Yep. How much you want?
All right. That didn't get us in any trouble.
No, that ended well.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, about getting in trouble, I saw a little news blurb yesterday. There was a contestant on Big Brother at one point, and she kind of got famous for being the evil person in the group or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then I don't know if she was a realtor, but she became a realtor. And of course, where does she land? Here. And she starts this company that says basically, hey, we'll give you money if you allowed us to sell your house whenever you sell it in the next 10 years, 15 years. You don't have to sell it now. We'll give you money right now. But you're signing a contract with me that I'm going to sell your house. Whenever you sell it, I'm going to sell it. So people were like signing up with this company and getting like So there was one lady in the news article that got paid like $686, and she signed an agreement, an older lady, and she signed an agreement that she would sell her house through this company.
But it's just that cut and dry. Here's $700, and if you list your house ever, you list it with us. There's nothing else. Really.
No, there's all these extra things you don't know. So there's pages and pages,
like,
right?
If it's just that,
Yeah, let's just do it, right?
Yeah.
So all these people were doing it. I remember the trend. It was probably like 2019, 2020, I'm guessing, is when I remember seeing this, or maybe 2021. I was like, this is such a scam, in my opinion, right? I was like, this is total. Why would anybody do that?
Well, desperation.
Well,
if you need $700 like badly,
right. And some people got thousands. It depends on the price of your home and everything. So what these people signed, though, wasn't just, hey, I'll let you be my realtor. It's like, if the house ever is transferred, so if you give it to your kids, you got to pay a real estate commission to this company.
Ooh.
If you refi the house and don't sell it, you got to pay this real estate company their commission. So anything that happens with that house, for like 10 years or something, it was like a really long time, you had an obligation. Well, she was doing it in Florida a lot. And then for some reason she moved to Texas, and then she was doing it nationwide, but she ended up moving to Texas and really focused on there. And now all the Texas authorities out there are investigating and saying it's fraudulent, and you can't sign agreements like that for that long a period of time. Real estate agents can only sign agreements for 1 year, right? Like I can't take a 2-year listing. I'm not allowed to.
Sure, that makes sense,
right? So this thing is like you have a 10-year listing in a way.
In a way, I guess, yeah.
So they're going through all that right now, and she's in big trouble. And supposedly there was something like 21,000 people signed these agreements across the United States. So, if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. It's just another example of Florida, because it started here. And really try to avoid things like that. And the thing I was arguing back then, why would you hire a company when you don't know their track record? You don't know if they're good at what they do or not. So even if you're making a commitment now and they're paying you to be their listing agent, because that's basically what you're doing. How do you know they're good?
You don't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
You don't.
And obviously they weren't.
No, I think that is there's an element, a predatory aspect there. Like, you're really, I know they're going to cast out a big net, and they're going to get the ones that are desperate, the ones that, I need that money. I'll take that money. I'm willing to say whatever, but evidently not willing to read the contract. And evidently, I hate the lack of personal responsibility that has just absolutely saturated this nation. Yeah. It's just, I didn't know what I signed. Well, you're an idiot.
Yes, exactly. You have responsibility for what you've done.
Sorry,
and I totally agree with that. In this one case, though, and I'm sure that they were, like most news reporters, they're going to find the most heart-wrenching case that they can find out of all the complainants.
Of course.
This one case, the lady that made a few $100s, she was elderly. She was already deemed not capable of making decisions for herself. So she had a guardian, her son. And the son was supposed to sign everything. But apparently this lady signed this document and got the money without talking to the son. And then the lady passed.
See, beyond
right.
predatory.
So the son is the one that found out when he went to sell the house. She was like, you owe me. So he and another couple in Texas, they signed one of those documents. Then they went and resold the house a couple years later, right? They resold the documents to buy the house, right? They signed the documents when they owned the house to get the extra money. Then years later, they decided to sell the house, which they did. And then the company said, hey, you owe us X amount of dollars for the real estate commission on selling that house. And so the family had to pay the listing agent that actually sold the house. I assume that they paid the buyer's agent, because I don't know when the transaction was.
Right.
And then they had to pay that company on top of it the same commission. So they lost like tens of thousands of dollars.
Brutal.
Right. To make a couple in your pocket up front.
Yeah.
So don't fall for the scams. Just don't fall for it. The other thing I just want to talk a little bit about trends today. I got a buddy out in another state that is selling a house, And I always joked about this guy because I said if I ever wanted just to have a full-time real estate career with one customer, all I had to do was work with this one family because I had to get a mortgage license too. It seemed like they refied and bought new houses like twice a year. It seemed like, right? I'm exaggerating, but I could have made a whole career out of the transactions I've known over the 10 years with them, right? Well, they had to sell their house. I don't want to go into why. It wasn't a distress situation. But they normally use this one realtor. They never asked me, even though this guy's my best friend, he's never asked me, hey, Jim, find me a top agent in Denver, because this guy's in Denver, right? And I would have got him top agents out there, right?
Sure.
And he's got a nice home. It's a very desirable neighborhood in Denver. But he kept using the same agent over and over again for his transactions. And to be honest with you, it sounded like she was very good. So I didn't blame him from sticking with the person because he's got a known quantity.
You get good results, yeah.
Well, on this one deal, of course, probably their most important deal, they decided that they were going to go with my friend's brother's mother's cousin's sister's friend.
Instead of the one that's been consistently delivering results for them?
Yes.
Oh, no.
They put it on the market. They asked me for a lot of advice on he kept saying, I go, hey, Denver's really slowed down a lot. You have to make sure you price your house right. I know you did so many upgrades, so it's going to be a very desirable house. But even in desirable neighborhoods, slow. And he kept saying, no, I'm checking. And he's pretty good on research. And he was like, the house, 2 weeks ago, a house went on the market, a little bit smaller than ours, about the same condition. And it went on a contract in 3 days of full listing price. And then he talked about another one. Goes, our neighborhood's hot. I'm like, okay, trust him. Puts it on the market, gets offers right away, right? 3 to 4 days, he's getting offers, right? Which is great. They pick an offer. First happened, the first offer they got, they're only off by $20,000 on a small 7-figure house, like barely 7 figures. So we're talking about a fraction of percent, not even a percent. And the listing agent couldn't bridge the gap. They were both at the buyer and the seller were at terms. They just couldn't do it, and the whole thing fell apart. And he was very bummed out. They put it back on the market, got a buyer right away. But now this person wanted less than the other people wanted, right? Than the other people were going to give them. So I started coaching them, and they went back. The realtor went back and forth, and they weren't getting anywhere. And I said, look, this is how you negotiate that, right? So let's say they were $20,000 apart or $10,000, let's say $10,000 apart, because they were pretty close to that. The seller already came down on the list price to agree to even get to that $10,000 gap. The buyers came up from their original offer more than one time, right? But we were still short. So what I said was, and I actually wrote the email that he tweaked and gave to his agent, and basically it said, hey, to the buyer's agent, hey, Mr. Buyer's agent, I know we're only $10,000 apart from this thing, and it's going to be a deal breaker. And I don't know about you, but my sellers would really like to sell. If your buyers really like the house and want to buy, we should be able to bridge this gap. Look, the buyers came up in price, and the sellers came down in price, and we're 10,000 off. And if you would contribute X amount of commission on your side, I'll contribute an X amount of commission on my side, so that everybody takes a little haircut here and we get the deal done. Let's make this happen, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
So he takes that, he tweaks it a little bit, because he knows all the facts, and then he sends it to the agent. Agent didn't want to present it. Their agent didn't want to present it to the buyer's agent.
Wasn't willing to take a shave on the commission.
No, she didn't have a problem with her side. She didn't want to ask about doing it on the other side. She didn't want to ask the other agent to reduce her commission. So it was a weak negotiator, right? It was and this guy's an attorney, right? And the wife is very sophisticated. Used to be a investigative journalist, right? So these people know how to talk to people, negotiate in tough situations, all of that stuff. This one wouldn't even pick up the phone to call. So she sends the email. Then the agent says, immediately says, I'm not reducing my commission. So then they call me back up, and they said, I don't think that agent turned the offer into to the buyers. I think she just shut it down because she she wasn't going to deal with their commission. I go, they're not allowed to do that, right? They have to present the offer to the sellers. And they were like, well, how do we know? How do we know it was presented? And I go, well, you can give a formal written counter offer and ask that the counter be, even if it's rejected, being signed by the buyers that they rejected your counter. And I would go back and ask for that. The buyers never got the offer, right? The agent was trying to block it to keep their commission full, to get their full commission, right? So we were able to bridge that gap, right? So they were able to get through that. And then they went into negotiations on the inspection. And as of 2 days ago, they're still negotiating on the inspection. And I'm just coaching
as best you can.
Yeah, and I'm telling them, look, don't use any of my stuff. I'm not a licensed realtor in Colorado. He's asked me a lot of contractual questions in Colorado. I was like, I don't know. I go, I know how it works in Florida really well. You need to talk to people out there. I can get you to top agents out there that'll know the answer like that, but I can't tell you that because I don't want to be wrong, right? So, but anyway, what he learned is that you don't hire your mother's brother's sister's cousin's friend, and this person happened to be a neighbor next door now or across the street. Now the families aren't talking to each other anymore, right? So it's bad. So just make sure when you hire people, you're hiring people because of their production and that you like them. You have to like the people, but you have to make sure that they're in production. You know what I just read? Remember I told you last year, guys? Remember I said in 2024 that something like 76% of the agents or something, it was some kind of crazy number. I don't want to say the percentage, but it was a crazy huge number, had done one transaction or less all year long. Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Supposedly, I just read an article today. Now, it could be totally wrong, but I don't think the statistic might be wrong, but the idea is right. They said something like 70-something% of all the agents in the country haven't done one deal, and we're almost halfway through the year.
Wow.
Right? Now, in Florida, the average agent used to do between 8 and 12 deals a year. Now it's 6 and 8 deals a year. So they're only doing a deal like every other month.
So the numbers are indicating a little bit of slowdown, but big percentage of realtors in the nation, we're in June, haven't even done a deal yet this year.
And it really matters. It really does matter to people that are hiring the agent, not having the experience. Everybody had to start out. I had to start out brand new too. So I'm not ragging on people that just start out. But if you don't take the time to be highly trained when you start out, remember when we started this show with Rob? And when we started the show, Rob had done no transaction as a realtor. In fact, he got his license as we were starting the show. Okay. And then I had done like 4 transactions as a single agent to all buyers, right? And then I had done some investing stuff in the back, but I wasn't a realtor at that time, right? So I had done 4 deals when I came on the show as a licensed realtor. Rob had done none, right? But we were in training every single day. If we weren't working with our customers, we were in training all the time. We just ate, lived, and sleep training. So we knew everything. And we were in that bad market where you had to understand foreclosure and foreclosure defense and bankruptcy and short sales and loan mods and blah, 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 blah. You had to go through all of that, right? And so we just trained. And I think that's what made our team grow faster and also get the results that we were getting for our customers, which were always higher than the national averages. When we were doing short sales, the average short sale that was accepted by banks was in the 60 percentile. We were in the 90 percentile. If you came to us to do a short sale where you asked the bank to take less than what is owed as payment in full so you could walk away debt-free, we were in the 90 percentile. Now, it wasn't us. It was the team.
Sure.
It was the law office of Paola Krasker and Short Sale Innovations, right? Yeah. And all of that, and Trident Title. And we had that whole great team that were very reputable, knew what they were doing, and we got the deal done. But there were so many scam artists back then that were ripping you off left and right, and other people that said they could do short sales that had no idea what they were doing negotiating with the bank, and the agents were acting as the negotiators to the bank themselves. We were smart enough to know, let the lawyers do it.
Yeah,
right?
we'll let them do that.
We'll let Paul Krasker deal with that, right? But we were there, and reason why Paul liked working with us so much is we really knew how to price the house right. If we were getting a very low price, it was usually because the house was in very poor condition at that point. So we would give him these reports to the bank so he can go to the bank, his team, Short Sale Innovations, and say, hey, look, the reason why we're taking this price is, you could see the sky from the living room.
Yeah, you
Right.
justify it.
Right. And you say all these things wrong. And basically we say, you don't want this house back.
Yeah.
If you get this house back, you're going to take less than what we're giving you right now. Right. So just make sure that when you're hiring somebody, the point I'm trying to make, I know I got really off base there, is just make sure that when you're hiring somebody, you actually really check their background and make sure that they have the production that they say they have, because realtors are famous for saying, I'm a top producing agent, or I'm a top this, or I'm a top that. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard to determine. I remember on $1 Million Listing once, the New York guys, the two New York guys, the Ryan Serhant, who's down here now, Serhant Real Estate Agency. It's a pretty big agency right now. It's growing big. And then this other guy that has done like $1 billion a year in sales. And they were both saying that they were top New York agents, and they were having drinks together, and they were competitors, and on TV they're feuding, but I think behind the scenes it's all TV.
It's scripted. Yeah,
but they were trying to decide I'm the top realtor in the area. No, I'm the top realtor in the area. And they're arguing with each other, and then they were like, well, what does top mean? Does that mean you did more listings,
or more money,
or you got more money? Or maybe you got more buyers than the listing people, or maybe you got a higher list price to sold price than other people.
There's
There's so
like a
many
good number.
There's so many ways you could be top.
Sure.
Right? What does top mean? You're in real production all the time. You've been through the block. You've been through the gamut a couple of times. So you've had bad appraisals that don't come in. You've had bad inspections where things pop up and you just didn't expect it to happen. Right? You're dealing with people on very tight budgets, so that you have to be really careful when you're trying to place them in their homes. You have to go through all that stuff in order to know what you don't know.
That's right.
And then we create systems around it. Oh, we just learned a new thing that didn't go our way. How can we avoid this in the future? So one of the things we created for our systems, just to give you an example, is to make sure that I had a meeting with a guy named Mike, one of our shout outs, right? So congratulations, Mike. Mike got approved for a new loan. We're going to help him buy a home, hopefully, but he's on a very, very, very tight budget. And one of the things buyers, when they're on a tight budget, one of the things they have to really worry about is when you buy a new home, the tax rate for that house is going to change dramatically after you buy it.
Sure.
So like when Jimmy bought his new home, it was only taxed at the land value when he first bought it, because they didn't have the house on the property yet.
Right.
Now, he got qualified for the loan based on that tax bill where it's land only. And his tax bill, I'm sure, went up differently once you actually got your tax bill, because they've claimed the house on it now and it's assessed.
But we were able to anticipate what it would be.
Right. And the thing is, but there's a lot of people, if you're not doing new construction, the agents and the mortgage brokers don't tell them. So we were looking at a house a couple of days ago, and the tax rate for Mike, the tax rate on this one house, the property tax bill was $756.
Yeah, that's
so
a lot.
he could qualify for the loan under $776. And I said, well, what we have to do is we have to go to the Palm Beach County property appraiser, and you go to the property tax calculator, and you type in the address of the property you want to buy, and then you put in the price you're going to buy it for. And then you say, are you homesteading it or not? And you click the button that you're homesteading it if you are, and it will project what the new tax bill would be.
Give you an understanding.
It went up to like $3,400 a year, right? From 756. So that was 5 times the amount, right? We're close to 5 times the amount. So when we calculated that, he couldn't afford the loan anymore, but he could have got the loan, right? That's the important thing. And we do once in a while get calls from this station, right? We get callers who say, my tax bill, my mortgage payment just went up $400 a month, and I only bought the house last year, right? And I go,
the escrow.
And you're a mortgage broker, right? So what happens is you're short on your escrow, and then you got to make it up, and then you got to create a new escrow level to keep up at that, at that new tax rate.
That's right.
So you get double whammied on that. And
almost triple whammy, because you got to make up for the shortage, and then you've got to make up for the
new
projection
amount.
for the new year,
right? For the new year. And that could break people. Sometimes they say they don't have it if they're on a tight budget.
Oh yeah, if they're pressed right up to the max.
If you don't have a seasoned realtor to sit down and tell you that, you would have no idea, right? And luckily, we have Mike, and Mike, of course, will always tell everybody that. We talk to them. Mike will say, hey, you can qualify for the loan right now. He goes, but let me tell you how it's going to be once you're into the loan. Now, sometimes people are okay that if they're on a tight budget. Oh, I'm going to have to pay an extra $250 a month. Well, I'd rather do that than go into the rental. So let's just get into the house. And then I said, well, then what you should do is from the day you get the house, you should start putting $250 a month extra into a savings account or something. So when you get that call 9 months from now from the bank saying, hey, we undercalculated your escrow payments, you already have it.
Yeah,
And
start
say
your own
here,
escrow
and
account.
then all they got to do is adjust the future escrow payment, right? And you're not making up the money that way. And that'll save you a lot on your mortgage payments. But not having people that are surrounding you to give you that kind of information, it's really super important.
Oh, that's the truth. You have to have a team of pros. And that's the beautiful thing about Florida Talk Real Estate is you get a team of pros. He mentioned Mike. That's Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. We mentioned Ross earlier. Of course, Ross Camaronets with Brightwood Insurance, Juno Beach. You mentioned the law firm of Paola Krasker. Yep, part of the team, Trident and Title. Of course, the Florida Talk Real Estate team at the very top is Jimmy D and the Florida Home Pros team. Anything that touches the world of real estate, we have a professional to handle your needs. You just had, you have Jared on last week?
We did. We
Yes.
had Jarrett from Perry Group CPA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We were talking about self-employed buyers. So if you're a self-employed buyer, we had really good conversation between Mike, the mortgage guy, and Jarrett, the CPA, trying to show how self-employed people can get a loan because it's very difficult for self-employed sometimes to get the loan.
Well,
so
there's
we
just
have a whole system for that
another
too.
example of how you have to have professional guidance when you're trying to get buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, get yourself on the right path. The guidance starts at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. The one-stop real estate shop, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're going to do a little reset and get back to
let's do a little reset. We'd love to take your questions live on air. When we flip on the other side, we are going to be talking about, is the Florida real estate market really crashing? Because that's all I read about. So we're going to talk about that and find out what's like on boots on the ground. Is it really happening or not happening?
Excellent. You're always welcome to join us. 877-927-6969. We are live on the 15th.
No, 14th.
one.
Yesterday
14th.
was the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Yes. Did you leave milk and cookies out for Jason on
with
Thursday?
the near full moon.
Yeah, because Thursday was the
Yep.
strawberry moon.
Yep.
Did you get a glimpse of it?
It was awesome.
It's
And it was
beautiful.
strawberry too.
Yeah, so beautiful. Nice, low, huge.
Yeah,
moon.
it
Yeah,
was
so good.
awesome.
Did you leave milk and cookies out for Jason on Thursday night?
No, I
No?
did not.
Well, you're bad.
I don't get it. Even for Jason, I don't get. You mean
Friday the
Jason Friday 13th?
Yeah.
Oh no, I forgot about that. I didn't get it, Jason.
He brought me a new machete.
Every time I we got plenty of time remaining. You're always welcome. 877-927-6969. If you're not comfortable on the radio, believe me, I understand. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You can call the hotline too. You'll find it at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. 888-973-7828. Again, posted at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. On Facebook and YouTube. Point is, you got plenty of access to a wonderful team. No excuses. Know it, use it, love it, share it. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You can change lives, including your very own. We're back in 4 minutes. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We're everywhere you need to be. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com. Real Radio weather.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. A few more of those morning showers expected until about lunchtime today, and then we will see a drying pattern through the remainder of your Saturday. Once we get into this evening, things will be mostly dry across the area with the exception of a stray shower inland. And afternoon high temperatures today will be in the upper 80s and low 90s.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
Real Radio 92.1. We are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
That's it, 877-927-6969. How are those phone lines working over there today, Jimothy? Everything good over there today?
Hold on. I'll check the phone lines.
That one works. All right. We got several. Looks like they're all working.
All 5 of them.
All right, good.
Ready to light them up.
Excellent. Ample opportunity to join the program. If you want to dive into the conversation at hand, you're welcome. If you have a question, you are welcome to do just that. Of course, you're also welcome to just enjoy the rest of the program. FloridaTalkRealEstateIs.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. Of course, if you want to be a part of the program, dive in. 877-927-6969. Jimothy will line you up, right, my dude?
Absolutely, 100%. Good morning, Johnny, Jim, and you.
Oh, good morning to you as well, Johnny C. That's me, your old buddy, your old pal. Of course, Jimmy D's here. That's Jim DePola. He runs a top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Jimmy D, how you be?
Hey, I'm doing good. Happy South Florida, everybody. I wanted to talk about this segment about the Florida real estate market, especially our market down here in Southeast Florida, is it really crashing? Because we're hearing in the headlines everywhere. I mean, everywhere now, at least in my news feeds, about it's a slowdown across the nation, but Florida's ground zero for it again, as we always are. And we're ground zero for this decline that we're supposedly having, and that they're expecting it to spread throughout the country. So they're focusing on Florida as an example of what other parts of the country are going to already experience. And this is my perspective on that overall and I'm going to give some stats and talk about this with you guys and see what your opinion is. But my opinion overall is that we have gone through a slowdown throughout the whole country. It's already happened. We've been talking about it for months and months. And that while it's disappointing, because I always like to see growth and affordability of homes and people getting out there, it's disappointing because there's a lot of unaffordability out there right now. And but the sales aren't as bad as people are saying. And let me get into that first. Jimmy, do we have a caller?
Yeah, we do. Patrick was calling in about homeowners insurance. Now, we don't have Ross Camaronets with Brightway Insurance Juno Beach with us, but I'm sure we can maybe lead Patrick in the right direction.
Perfect.
Patrick, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hey,
good morning,
Patrick. How are you doing today? Thanks for calling.
Okay. Yeah, I received a letter from my underwriter
Mm-hmm.
saying that they're not. It's confusing because it says we're not going to be in your, I guess, your market area to
Mhm.
cover. But then we said we could do a partial coverage. So it's a little strange letter. I have my underwriter looking into it, and they were confused about it. So I'm just looking. Maybe I need another.
Oh, you know what I
for
think?
homeowners insurance.
Yeah, you know what I think, Patrick? And I'm guessing here, okay? I'm just totally guessing. We're going to get you the real answers on Monday for sure, okay? But I think I've heard, Ross has been doing this lately with us when he gives us our quotes for people that want an insurance quote. Sometimes he gives us insurance quote where, let's say, like Citizens is doing all of it, like windstorm and, your normal stuff. What do you call that? What do you call fire theft?
All of
that
the
stuff.
perils.
All the the other stuff. You can tell I'm an expert insurance agent.
Contents, liability.
Yeah. There's a name for them. I can't remember. But sometimes what he does is he offers windstorm coverage with one company and then everything else with another company. And maybe that's what's happening with you. Maybe your company is willing to do your perishables, like your items, but not do windstorm. And maybe that's why they're saying, I'm just guessing here, Patrick, but I can guarantee you that if you want Ross to check it out, he will. And he doesn't care that you have another agent you're working with. You should go for whatever you get the best deal with.
Yep.
And he's more than happy to give you information on it, whether you use them or not. So don't feel like you're obligated. But if you give Jimmy the information off air, I'll make sure I reach out to you on Monday personally, Patrick, and get you going on that, because I'm going to need your address and a couple other things. Is that okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, you're very welcome. Hold on there, my friend, and happy Father's Day if you happen to be a dad. Remember to take care of the dads in your life this weekend. Chris Rock said it best. Dad just gets the big piece of chicken. So make sure you take care of your dad and any dad in your life this weekend. Give him a little
That's
extra
true.
love. Yes.
That's true. That's true. We're going to be having a Father's Day dinner tomorrow in memoriam.
Yeah. Good.
So God bless you, Dad. Okay. So getting back to what? Okay, we're going to get another call in a second, I think. But getting back to was that another caller or is that the same person?
No, that was
the
Patrick.
same person. Okay, great.
I thought it was a different person, Patrick. So I thought we had his number already, but I just got his number. So we'll.
Yeah, his voice sounds like somebody else, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I thought it might have been that person. Yeah, so that is funny. Hey, so we were just talking about where we are in the market, and the rest of the country is saying Florida's ground zero. It's already happened. Good things not coming. So. I wanted to look at you know what? I can't believe this.
What happened?
I don't have the May report report here. Was it the main report?
So and I know everybody kind of has their own algorithm, their own news feeds. Hopefully you have your reliable sources you go to. I'm seeing a lot of Florida, Texas, Arizona. It's kind of all the usual suspects, right? The ones that got hit the hardest in the big downfalls, the ones that kind of got the biggest comeback. They're the ones that are driving the focus because they built up so much. When the slowdown comes into play for everybody, it feels like that's the ground zero, right? I mean, I think it just seems inherently that's the way it's going to be.
It is. But here's the thing that, like, I don't get why the national media is saying what it's saying. And if I agreed with them, I'd agree.
They got to get clicks. They got to get you to watch, the teases. I love the teases that never pay off too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are the best. I waited around for 5 minutes for you to say nothing. Thank you.
You know who my favorite of that is Jamie Dimon. I've never heard Jamie. He's the owner of, not the owner, but he's the CEO of Citibank.
Okay.
Right. He's in charge of the largest bank in the country. Yeah. Right. So everybody turns to Jamie Dimon to see what Jamie Dimon's saying. It's like E.F. Hutton. Remember those commercials? E.F. Hutton. What does E.F. Hutton have to say, right?
Yeah,
I'm really old.
When he talks, people listen, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe you remember it, Johnny. I figure it's past you.
I got drove into my head.
Yeah. So
sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Yeah. What was I saying before I got off of that? I started laughing. Now I forgot.
Jamie Dimon.
Oh yeah. He's been predicting since 2018 to 2019 that we were going to go into this major recession. It's like 6 years later.
Yeah, just stick to it, man. Stick to it. Eventually you'll get it.
And he's saying, but he just came out a week ago or so. He's like, but this time it's going to happen this time. I'm like, well, broken clock is right. 2 times a day.
Twice,
right?
Yeah. So, stick to it, man.
So keep going. Don't move.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. This is why, the amount of closed sales, and this is similar for all the counties, the 6 counties we cover, Indian River down to Dade, right? But last month we had 1,300, and when I say last month, I mean April, because May's report hasn't come out yet. So the most recent report for the Realtors Association, we had 1,328 single-family homes sold in Palm Beach County. The year before that, we had 1,402, right? So not a big difference.
Pretty much the same.
It says 5%, but we're talking about, 70 homes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how does that compare, historically of how many houses we sell? And what I've been telling everybody is during COVID, right? New listings. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get here.
I feel like we just need to eliminate the COVID times from any variables because it's so nonsense.
Well, the only thing I totally get where you're coming from, except for one glaring problem. The price home values have increased so much during that time that's real. Do you know what I mean? It's like all the other stuff, the frenzy of people buying and selling with no inspection, no appraisal, cash only, blah, 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 got to buy the house. All that went away. The only thing that left was the high price house.
Yeah,
the high prices.
And that's what drove it.
Yeah, and that's what drove it.
Yeah,
but that didn't go away. All the other stuff went away.
Sure.
We don't have the crazy bidding wars. We don't have just give me the house. I don't care if I have an inspection. All that went away.
So it's kind of like the weight on your body.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it on really fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It comes off a lot slower.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we put on all that value as everybody was overspending, cash, no inspections. I'll give you way more than you want. Bidding wars for everything, cash over the top. So we just drove up the value, and now you're seeing the little whittling away on them as the market is slowing down. So yeah, we're inching back down to reality is what's happening.
Exactly. And we're going to lose some of that appreciation that we've had, that frothy appreciation we had. We're probably going to lose some of that. I don't think we're going to lose a tremendous amount, though.
So normal appreciation is what, 4 to...
I would say 4 in Florida. I would say, I'm not basing it on real stats. I used to say Florida was usually 3 to 4% appreciation, and that the rest of the country was 2 to 3%. We usually got a point higher.
So we'll go.
Right?
We'll say 2 to 4 was
I
like
was-
normal appreciation.
Yeah, but now I want to say it's closer to 5% appreciation, to be honest with you,
Okay,
in Florida.
but so we'll say 5. We'll say
Mhm.
5.
Mhm.
We were having 13, 14%.
18.
That's insanity.
Yes. Yes.
Insanity.
Yeah. How does your home increase in value not doing anything to it and increase almost 20% in 1 year?
Just because someone's willing to overpay for it.
Yeah.
That's the exact principle.
But getting back to the closed sales, right? We're supposed to be in this really bad market and everything. And I'm not saying it's a great market, but it's not the worst market.
Well,
And
it's much more of a buyer's market.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But what they're saying is that the buyers aren't there and the sales are really slow. But here's the thing. In the last year, I'm going to read off the monthly sales in Palm Beach County, right? 1328 for April of this year, right? The month before that, 1255. The month before that, 1009. The month before that, 850. That was really bad. 1032. 841. Another really bad month. I remember that month. I went, wow. I remember that month. It was like crazy. 840. That's like about half of what we normally do, right? So our normal market here is around 1,500 homes a month. That's a healthy market, right?
Yeah, we're right around there
We're
right
at
now.
1328.
Yeah.
So where's this whole thing that the whole thing's
But
imploding?
you can't get anybody to click an article that says, "Hey, everything's kind of normal."
I guess nobody's going to listen to the show.
Well, that and heavily,
The headline does say, "Is the Florida real estate market crashing?" Right, but I had a question mark, not a statement. I'm saying, is the Florida real estate market crashing? Is it really crashing? I'm sorry, Jimmy. What were you saying?
No, just have we rewritten what is quote unquote normal as well? I mean, we've seen that in a couple different aspects with real estate, as in what is the interest rate? What's a normal interest rate, right? So normal interest rates are what, 6 to 8% historically, if you look over the course of
40 years.
Yet when we look at 6.5%, people, oh my God, it's so high, because we got so used to 3% in such a short period of time. Johnny's pointed that out several times, and Mike as well. Same thing with days on market, right? What was days on market, or what, how many days would it take to sell every home that's in the market? Like, that number right now is at a neutral point from what you have mentioned.
5.9 months in Palm Beach County, 6 months neutral.
Yet now instead of it being neutral, this is considered a buyer's market because the norms have changed.
Yes, you're 100% right. Mike said several months ago, when we were below that 6-month inventory, which normally is the seller's market. If you have 6 months inventory, or if you have less than 6 months inventory, it's usually a seller's market. More than 6 months inventory, it's more leaning towards the buyer's market. We've never really hit the 6 month yet in Palm Beach County. We did in St. Lucie County. It's the only county that we actually hit the 6 months right now out of the 6 counties. And even though we've been flitting around that 6 months, Mike came out a couple months ago and said it feels like a buyer's market.
Sure.
And it is a buyer's market. I just had somebody, remember the couple from Orlando that bought the house in Orlando through us a couple weeks ago, Memorial Day weekend? They went out. Michael and Colleen, they listened to us from New York on YouTube. And then they called up because they were thinking of moving to Florida. We talked for like a year and a half. I placed them with an agent in Orlando, a great agent. We're going to have him on the air to talk about the experience. They bought a new construction home on Memorial Day weekend, $40,000 off the list price. Now, this is brand new construction home, $40,000 off the list price that was advertised in the newspaper. And they got money for closing costs and down payment from the developer and a discounted interest rate through the developer.
Yeah, that feels like a buyer's market.
Hey, I know. It's like, try to find that 2 years ago or in the last 3 years since, not if you go 3 years backwards from today, try to find that during any of the 3 years. That wasn't happening.
Sure. Well, hell, you could probably go 5 years.
Yeah, you're right. So it is really kind of more of a buyer's market, but the sales aren't that slow where the seller should be going, I can't sell my house. Now, if we were at the 850 sales a home of single family homes in Palm Beach County, or 900 homes in Palm Beach County, and we hit that month after month after month in a row, yes, then the sellers could be in complete panic at that point and say the market is crashing, right? But we're not. We're at the point where the ball, remember we used to talk about throwing the ball in the air and it goes up really fast, and there's a certain point where it just holds and then it starts going back down again.
Right.
We're at that holding point, or we already started going down a little bit. And I don't know how far it's going to go. I don't know if we're going to catch it in our hands or it will go back up again before it gets to our hands.
Right.
But right now, the market is not as bad as you're reading in the paper, but it's not super awesome for sellers either. And that's the other thing. Sellers, they got to price their house correctly. If you don't price the house correctly and you miss it just by a little bit, it just sits there. I actually had to go through 3 price changes last week on our houses.
But I will tell you, Jim, and I hate to interrupt right at this moment, but in the 13 years we've done this show, except for a pocket of nonsense, right? And collapse. So there's a few little chunks where we're in like really, really like abnormal times. I think not listing your house appropriately has always been a big negative for you. I mean, you're going to sit if you're not in the zone that you need to be in. So like, welcome to the norm.
Yeah, because people got the interest rates. I call that crack. Right? Everybody, you know, I was always told as a crime reporter, if you smoke crack once, you just become a crack addict on the first hit. Right? That's what they used to say. Right? So, that those 3% or below interest rates, it was like crack. It was there for a little period of time, and everybody still wants it, like the rat that's addicted to the drug in the maze, right? And they just want to get the high again.
Sure.
They want that 3%, you know, that 3% mortgage, and they're out there. I have 2 houses right now that have assumable mortgages at one's at 3.25 and one's at 3.6.
Wow. Right?
Now here's the problem with those. They're FHA mortgages. As long as you qualify for FHA mortgage, you can qualify for that 3.25 or 3.6 interest rate and just take over the amount owed on that property and get that super low interest rate. But if the house, let's say the person has $200,000 mortgage and you're buying the house for $400,000, you got to come up with that extra $200,000. And a lot of people don't have like $200,000 to put down.
Yeah, so it
they
might
can
be
get the low interest rate.
Be a loan at 7%.
Yeah, so then it says, okay, I'll buy to do the 7% loan, right? And that's the way. But if you have like a lot of money to put down, you can get these assumable mortgages and save even more money. FHA, when they changed around things that made it, they took something away from FHA that was, they took away PMI. PMI used to be able to go away once you had 20% equity with FHA, and they took that away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so even if you only owe $1 and you have an FHA mortgage today, you can't get out of that PMI.
Right.
You'd have to refi it. You got to refi it.
Yep.
So before, it would go away. Now it won't. So in order to give a little bone to the buyers, they say, we're not going to give you that benefit, but what we will give you is an assumability of the mortgage where you can sell the mortgage when you sell the house. If you have a lot of money as far as the down payment, there could be really good opportunities there for you. But I agree with you. It's like pricing the house correctly has always been an important part, except for like a couple of weird periods. That 03 through 05 period, it didn't matter. You shoved the sign in the yard, somebody was buying it.
That's right.
And COVID was the same way. But those are really the only 2 times, and they were very unusual times.
That's right.
So what the sellers have to understand is as long as you price the house correctly. So getting back to what I was saying, I did 3 price reductions on properties over last week. And the week before that, like this time last week, we only had 3 showings scheduled for, I've got 10 properties for sale. We only had 3 showings for the whole weekend scheduled, and one of them canceled, right? Since I did the price reductions on like Monday, Tuesday, we've had 13 showings on all the different properties. And I think almost every single property got at least 1 showing, and most of them got multiple, right? So the buyers are out there right now. And if they feel that you're priced right, they're going to come out.
Yeah, they
but
are.
We weren't priced correctly, unfortunately. and you could see the difference. It was like a light switch being turned on.
Turned it on, yep.
So if you're sitting there for 90, 100, 120, 150 days, you're priced wrong. People say, well, I don't think that's unusual. It's a very slow market. This is what you have to understand if you're a seller. If you're not getting people to come to your house, you're way overpriced.
Yep.
If you have them coming to your house and they're not turning in an offer, and not just one person, I'm talking about multiple people, and they're not turning in an offer, you're overpriced because they'll come out. And the sellers always say this to me. I had this conversation this week. Well, if I'm priced wrong, they'll just come in at a lower price and then we'll negotiate it. Maybe I'll work with them. I go, it doesn't work that way. They won't even turn in the offer to start that negotiation, because what sellers always forget is what it's like to be a buyer. And buyers feel more vulnerable than the sellers usually, because the seller has what the buyer wants. So the buyer's looking to find out, which is my home, right? Which is the one I could afford? Which is the one I really want? And try to go through that. And they're not going to fill out 30 pages of stuff and try to figure out, can they afford the mortgage, and talk to the mortgage brokers. Like, are the taxes okay? Am I going to be okay with this offer? And you go through all that stuff and you turn in the offer, and then the seller goes, no.
Right.
And then you wasted, and your heart just collapses a lot of times for people. And so they don't want to go through that rejection. So their attitude is, I'm not going to turn in the offer. I'll go find somebody who's more reasonable on the price. Even though that the price they would have been willing to offer that seller might have been a price that the seller would accept, it never happens because of the pricing is stopping the actual offer. And it actually could hurt you. So just be really careful of all that when you're putting your house on the market, and really understanding all that. And don't do this to yourself. I'm going to just leave off on this tip. Don't do this. My house is better because blah, 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 blah. And all that will really matter, right? But you don't know what the condition of the other, like when you're comparing other houses in the neighborhood and go, my house is better than the other person's house because I got a new kitchen. They don't have a new kitchen. Well, theirs is a 2,200 square foot house and you're a 1,500 square foot house. That new kitchen is going to make a difference, but it's not going to make a difference from 1,500 square foot to 2,200 square foot.
Nope.
You're pricing your house in the wrong bracket because your house is 700 square feet smaller than the house, which is basically 50%. You're buying 50% more house than that other house, right? And people don't get that. They just see it's in their neighborhood, on their street. It's sold, the house down the street just sold for this, right? So you really got to understand your house and how it compares.
Well, I think you have to have proper guidance too from your professional. I mean, if you're hiring an agent that is just desperate for listings and they're just willing to put anything on the market at whatever price, then you get what you get. I would imagine if somebody wants to maximize price, you're going to have the conversation with them and be like, look, we'll press the limits, but understand this is where we're going to end up. We can go here now, or I'm willing to press the limits if you want, but know that we're probably going to end up in price reductions. You're going to have those tough conversations.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not having those conversations with your agent, you might not have the best agent.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Johnny and Jimmy, do you mind if we take the 10 o'clock break? And on the flip side, what we're going to talk about is interest rates, right? We talked about sales and what's going on with that. Are there buyers here or sellers selling? The answer is yeah. Is it on fire? No. Is it the worst ever? Not by a long shot.
Yeah, really.
But the next thing we're going to talk about a little bit is about interest rates, because that's always a big thing for the buyers, and we're going to talk a little bit about that on the flip side.
Excellent. Still lots to get into on this Saturday. You're welcome to join us toll free 877-927-6969. About an hour remaining on this Saturday. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Find us on YouTube and Facebook. We live stream every Saturday. If you're with us, thank you for being there. Of course, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com is your one-stop real estate shop. Access to the entire team. Pros. These are experts in their field, and you get them all one click away. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. 4-minute break. We're back at it. Thanks for being with us. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. Real Radio.
Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio. Go on. Tell it. Show that damn thing who's boss. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. A few more of those morning showers expected until about lunchtime today, and then we will see a drying pattern through the remainder of your Saturday. Once we get into this evening, things will be mostly dry across the area with the exception of a stray shower inland. And afternoon high temperatures today will be in the upper 80s and 90s.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Make us the #1 preset on your car radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Hour number 2 with a toll-free number 877-927-6969. Dial it up if you'd like to take part of the conversation at hand or if you have a question, comment, concern in the world of real estate, Timothy, our producer extraordinaire, he'll line you up. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and a good morning.
Good morning, Johnny C. Well, that's me, your old buddy, your old pal. And of course, we got Jimmy D over here. He's our fearless leader. Top producing Keller Williams team. He runs for 13 plus years now. Florida Home Pros team with Keller Williams Innovations. There's Jim DePola. Jimmy D, how you be?
A top producing team? I didn't.
What the?
What does top producing mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean, right? Hey guys, happy South Florida, everybody. We were just talking about, is the Florida real estate market crashing? All we hear about in the headlines, at least in my news feed, is about how bad Florida's real estate market is and doom and gloom headlines. And, things haven't been, I wouldn't say rosy. I wouldn't say that we're in one of the best Florida real estate markets, but I can't say that this is anything near the worst markets that we've been in, even in the time I've been a realtor since 2010. This is not the worst market ever. So one of the things that we were talking about was amount of sales, and we just went over early on the show that in South Florida the sales are at almost at the average, right? We're not like super low. We're selling about 13-14 homes a month. 1,500-1,600 homes a month is normal in Palm Beach County. We're seeing similar statistics in the other counties. We're not seeing a big difference between the 6 counties we cover that much. The other thing is that the interest rates. Everybody's going to have a different opinion about whether interest rates are high or not, but I like to deal in facts. So not opinions when it comes to this stuff, because I don't want to get over dramatic about it. So this week we're at 6.84, which is a 0.01 change from last week down. So we were at 6.85 the week before that. So let me just read the last 4 or 5 weeks of Freddie Mac reports. So we're at 6.84 today. Last week we're at 6.85. The week before that we were at 6.89. The week before that, we were at 6.86. The week before that, we were at 6.81. And the week before that, we were 6.76.
So we haven't moved at all.
We haven't moved. It's almost a straight line. It's almost as straight line as you can get on one of these charts. Now, where was the high? The high for the year, and we're halfway through the year, is still January, right? So the January was our peak. So we've been going down and then staying flat, right? Since January. In January, we're at 7.04. So 6.86 or 6.84 to 7.04, we're only 0.2 from the high, which is less than a quarter point less than the high. But we also haven't seen anything go down lower. The low for the year was 6.63. Oh, wait. Yes, 6.62 was the low for the year. So basically, we're 0.4 variance right now from the low to the high. That is not a big variance. And we're pretty stable when it's been coming to the interest rates so far. So the fact that you're seeing this, and Jimmy was talking earlier on the last segment about what are normal interest rates over the 40-year period, and have things changed? And he mentioned 6 to 8, and over the 40 years we've been at 7 to 9% is the variance, right? 7% to 9% average over those 40 years. 6.84, we're right there,
yep.
Right? So everybody complaining about these interest rates, really, it's in your head more than anything else, right? Interest rates are important, but they aren't the reason to decide to buy a house or sell a house or anything like that. It has to be based on your personal situation and what your need is at that moment.
That's right.
But these interest rates shouldn't be making your decision yes or no, unless you've got that super low 3% mortgage rate you're not willing to divorce. So you're going to stay with the spouse you don't like. That's that if you had a druthers, you would trade up for a new one, but you're not because you're worried about the divorce settlement.
That's right. I don't want to get a house.
So I'm just going to live with it. I like my house, right? So, interest rates are, despite what you're reading in the mortgage news market and the financial markets on TV, and they talk about the rates going up or down, a lot of it's drama because we're only, like I said, we've only seen really a 0.2 because we're at 684, 704 was the highest. So right now we're only 0.2 below the highest, but that wasn't the highest ever. November, in the last 7 years or so, the highest ever was November 2023 at 779. Now that's a whole point higher than where we are now.
Right.
That is significant
Yes.
in the fact that it's 10% of your purchase power.
Right.
Right. So interest rates really aren't the crash. We're not seeing a crash because of the interest rates. We're seeing sales that are kind of average, not great, but not, oh my God, I can't believe that these numbers are coming through. So we're not seeing any of those two things. So why is everybody complaining? I mean, I really don't. I know that everything seems to be unaffordable in Florida. I don't think that's ever going to get better. And the reason why is I think we're going through a transition. Did you just see where they're building a $285 million spec home in Manalapan?
Ooh.
$285 million spec home.
Spec home.
Spec home, right? Can you imagine?
Ooh.
In Manalapan. The party's over. This is becoming Martha's Vineyard. Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard. It's going to be like that where the super wealthy are here. I was talking to my coach last week, and he was talking about Stephen Ross, and I didn't know this. Stephen Ross has already made a commitment to put $300 million in a city place, and he's already building all that stuff out there.
Yeah, it's been going on for a few years now.
Yeah, it's been going a couple of years. But what I didn't know was the bigger plan. And apparently the bigger plan is, and I'm clueless, I guess I missed all this stuff. He decided, I guess during the COVID time, that West Palm, specifically West Palm, was not treated the way that he felt it should be treated, nationally recognized as a good place to be a business center. So what he did is that he built this big high office tower building that he was putting in, but he wasn't getting enough people moving from Wall Street to come down to live in West Palm, to move their whole companies here. And the reason why is they felt that the housing stock for these executives, these Wall Streeters, that there just isn't good enough housing down here for them. So what he decided to do is he's building 2 new upscale luxury condo stuff in downtown West Palm, just to house the people that will be coming down for the businesses that are coming. So he's doing both. He's build it, you will come. So he's building the business thing and you will come. And then he's building the housing for the people that are going to come here. And he's thinking that he wants West Palm to be San Francisco, New York, like that. He wants us to be a hub of economic activity in West Palm, right? All that's just going to make things, if you think things are going to become more affordable, the only way that that's going to happen is we're going to have to go through a major, major crash again. And I hope we never go through that. I hope that was a once in a lifetime thing. It was 10 years ago, enough. Right.
Right.
But
it was manufactured though, sadly.
I'm sorry?
It was kind of manufactured.
Oh, yeah,
though,
yeah.
sadly.
It was all, and now they're talking about releasing Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae from the obligations they originally had, because they're trying to privatize it again.
Mm-hmm.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were privatized until the crash because they weren't doing things right. So they punished them by, having more government oversight. And now they're trying to release them again. It's just, how many times are you going, people don't get that when it comes to business, in my opinion, it's like pigs at a trough. They're going to eat until the food is gone and they're not going to worry about tomorrow.
That's right.
And if somebody isn't there to be a check and balance to that, that's how we had that big crisis that we had back then.
Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. And I hope that we don't go through that again. So interest rates are not crazy. They're not great. I'm not telling you it's like, oh yeah, you got to run out and buy a house because of the interest rates right now. We're not saying that, but they should not be deal breakers for most people, right? And they just shouldn't be. And if you're waiting to buy a house because you're all of a sudden now you think you're a genius or what's going to happen with interest rates. If you're a regular home buyer, you're buying a house because you want to live there, you want to raise your family there or whatever, you want a nice place to live, you want to build up equity, you want the tax benefits from it.
Yeah.
And then that appreciation will be tax-free to you, at least up to $250,000 if it's homesteaded. And it's like, it's a way to save money without really saving money. It's not like putting in your 401k or making an extra effort of buying a stock or something. It's just owning a piece of America and watching it grow over time. And you get a benefit from that. Much better than being helping the landlord do that.
Yeah.
Right. So interest rates shouldn't be stopping people right now. The sales are pretty good. And so now let's go. What I'm going to do right now is we're going to do our thing on the MLS, and we're going to see how many distressed sales there are. Now, Johnny, I think you weren't here this one week and when we did this, and I did find out something kind of interesting on it. So we're going to see if the trend holds. So right now, I'm live on the MLS. There's 62,375 residential properties for sale on the Beaches MLS, which is multiple county MLS. Okay, now how many short sales are for sale? We have 163 short sales out of 62,000 properties. And how many foreclosures? We have 487, right? So let's see, 490 and one. What's 490 and 160? 590, 650. So we have 650 short sales and foreclosures out of the 62,000, right? Which means that's 0.6%.
Yeah, it feels right.
Let's see, 62,000 divided by, what did I say, 650?
650, yep.
I did that wrong. Divided by, did that wrong, sorry. 0.01%.
Oh.
Right, 0.01. Yeah, 650 divided by 62,000. 0.01%. Normal foreclosure rate, foreclosure short sale rate on the MLS, 1 to 3%.
Yeah, so it's not even worth mentioning.
Right, we're not there, except one thing. Here's the thing I thought that was a little interesting trend. When we first started this about 6 or 7 months ago, we were averaging about 250 short sales and foreclosures. So we've more than doubled. It's still a fraction of a percentage, but we have more than doubled over the time that we've been doing this exercise. Do I think that is a trend that we're going to see this avalanche of foreclosures coming? No. So even if we quadrupled the amount of foreclosures and short sales that are out there right now, we'd still be in the normal range. We're in the below normal range.
Way below.
We're abnormal right now.
Yes.
We're abnormal,
Yes.
right? So we're the abnormal range right now. So don't think that, everybody's waiting for this like big boom and everything's going to fall apart. It's not here, guys. I'm not saying it can't come. But we don't have people going out and buying crazy mortgages and fog and mirrors and getting a mortgage or just saying, well, Johnny, how much do you make a year? 42,000. Well, how much do you want to say you made a year? $1 million a year. Okay, let's put that down. $1 million a year. Hey, you got the loan. Congratulations on buying your third house. Right? For $1 million, right? All that's gone. Now you have to give DNA and you're left, you know what? Before you can get the mortgage, right?
And one other factor that you've mentioned many times, Jim, is the unemployment rate. It hasn't,
Here's
really skyrocketed, which would, obviously aid in foreclosures, people losing their job.
Mm-hmm. We're at 4.2%. We've been at 4% now for like a year, right? 4% is the sweet spot, guys. I remember when Clinton was president and we got below 4%. And all the business leaders were losing their religion and complaining that Clinton had a bad economy because the unemployment was too low.
Too low.
If you have too low of unemployment, there isn't enough movement between jobs for employees, and employers have to pay an arm and a leg when that's happening to get the employee. So 4% is the sweet spot. We've been in the sweet spot for a very long time. It hasn't increased really. I know the jobs report last week came out, or earlier this week came out a little weak, but we've seen that before, months after months after months, and they readjust later. Sometimes they readjust way higher, sometimes they readjust way lower. But right now, that number isn't anything to panic about.
No, I feel like that's all just uncertainty in the corporate world about how's it going to shake out with tariffs and things. I think they're in a bit of a hold.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then CPI, the inflation report came out this week, and they're saying that we're at 2.1, right? 2.1 to 2.5. Now, we've been in the high twos now for a very long time. Both administrations, not just this new administration, Trump, but Biden. Biden was at 275 for several months before he left office. So we're not seeing this increase in inflation yet that everybody's predicting. Now, this report was April's report.
Sure.
So this is right at the beginning of the tariff. So everybody's expecting that, it's funny though, because I don't know if what everybody's projecting is going to happen, which is going to be super high inflation. We're not going to have stuff. We're going to have empty shelves and everything. That's what everybody was predicting in April. And they said, we're going to see the results in June, July. Now they're saying July, August. So come on.
Keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah, they're moving the goalposts. And my attitude is, how about we deal in reality?
Yep.
Reality is unemployment's good. Inflation is not bad. And people forget that you don't want 0% inflation. If you have 0% inflation, there is no growth. You want inflation. That keeps the economy humming, but you don't want it getting too high. And their magic number is 2%.
2%. Yep.
So you don't want 0% inflation. In fact, if you go below 2%, then you're going to hear the Fed saying, hey, we got to do something to spark the economy. Economy's too slow, right? So we're right in the sweet spots, everybody, and everybody feels like they're eating a turd sandwich. And when you talk to people about the economy, they all feel like they're eating a turd sandwich. And I'm like, this might not be filet mignon, but it might be chicken salad sandwich, something that you can eat, right? Something you can eat. So I just don't understand where people, and if anybody disagrees with us, we'd love to hear you on the air.
Sure.
Just talk. We don't want to get into politics, though. This is not a red blue show deciding who's better or who's worse. So all we're doing is talking about what's happening in the market today and and how it's going for you and me, the regular people out there trying to just run their way through the world. I don't want to start pontificating about how the world should be or how our country should be. Leave that to other people. I don't want to deal with
show.
it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's not us. But if you want to talk about what's happening in the real estate market and how it's affecting you, I'd love to talk to you about that.
877-927-6969. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
There's been a lot of talk, Johnny. I'm switching gears here. There's been a lot of talk about do you really need a realtor if you're buying a home? And there's a lot of talk about that because of the way that real estate commissions have changed. Last August, there was a settlement with the Department of Justice on a class action lawsuit on behalf of sellers, where the sellers sued the National Association of Realtors, some brokerages, and the MLS systems across the country, saying, you are forcing me to use a buyer's agent to help sell my property that I'm going to pay for, and I don't think that's right. Why should I pay a buyer's agent fee and be forced to pay that? And so DOJ ruled in favor of that, and there was a settlement by NAR, National Association of Realtors, to say, okay, we're going to change our rules. And the way the rules are now is basically the way that I've been operating since I started realty stuff, which is to explain to you how real estate commissions work, because people just assume that commissions were non-negotiable. Once you sign an agreement, they were non-negotiable, and they felt that realtors were making it that way, like not telling them all their rights, the sellers' rights. And what I've always explained is Florida's like the Wild Wild West. If, Johnny, you're selling a house and you convince me to sell the house for $0, okay, good for you. You won the negotiation. I wouldn't hire me because I suck at negotiating. But if if I'm willing to do your deal for 0%, that's totally legal. And if I convince you, Johnny, that I'm the best agent in the whole world and I want 10% real estate commission, that's legal too. As long as you and I agree to that commission, that's the way it is. They were hoping that these new regulations would reduce real estate commissions, but they didn't. They reduced it like 0.35% on average. They've done some national studies, and the economists and the DOJ people is like, that's not right. That's not right. But you know why? The real estate commissions only dropped a little bit because people need realtors.
Yeah, of course.
It's almost like if you're going to court and you're getting sued or you're getting criminally charged, and you don't want to hire an attorney, right? I'll just let the prosecutor do my side.
Yeah, full represents itself.
Yeah, I'll let the prosecutor represent my side too, because that's what you're doing with the buyer. If you're a buyer and not working with the buyer's agent, then you're relying on the listing agent to do all the services for you. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and we have ethical guidelines that we have to be fair and transparent with everybody that we work with, but we are in Florida, and not everybody follows the rules. And I don't know if I would want to go if I'm not a seasoned buyer who's buying a lot of properties. I don't know if, like, I haven't bought a property in 5 or 10 years, that I'm just going to go to the listing agent and go, hey, I want to work with you, and that way I can save some of the commission, and we could reduce the price because the seller isn't paying as much commission, and therefore let me work with you. And that can work. But what do you think the listing agent did in order to get that listing to the seller?
What do you mean? What do you think they did?
As far as promises made or what their goals are for the seller.
Yeah, I mean, you lay it all out for them, right?
Right. And wouldn't I say, I'm going to try to get you the most money possible for your house?
I would imagine.
Right.
That's the goal.
And we know each other now because we signed an agreement. You met with me. We shot the photos, might have shown properties and everything while the house is on the market. Now we have a little bit of relationship usually, right?
Sure.
And now you have a buyer coming in. I don't, let's say I'm the listing agent. I don't know that buyer. You don't know that buyer. They're coming in trying to get the deal. Now, are you going to trust the listing agent who's already said that they're trying to get the most, already made a promise and a commitment to make the most money they can for the seller? And now you're working with that person to represent your interests? It can be okay. I'm not saying it's like, don't ever do that, but you have to really understand what you're walking into when you're doing it that way. It would be much better for most people to have a very seasoned buyer's agent who can walk them through the process and make sure that it's like, hey, this house has been on the market 120 days. Hey, did you know that they dropped the price 3 times already? And they're trying to get you, they're saying they only want to take full list price, right? Hey, do you know that the tax bill is going to change dramatically when you buy the house because the house has been homesteaded for 12 years? Are you aware of that? All of these things that are really important for a buyer to understand. I don't think you're going to get the same results where a listing agent is going to sit down with you and say, okay, if you buy this house, Johnny, the tax bill is $756 a month right now, but let's go to the Palm Beach County property appraiser and let's use that tax calculator and find out that the new tax bill is $3,500. Do you think a listing agent is going to sit down with buyer's agent and go through that unless the buyer's agent or the buyer asks them? They're not going to do that because it might end up killing the deal for the seller.
Right.
So just be really careful about going unrepresented into a deal, and just remember that, because I'm reading these articles where a lot of people are thinking that they're going to go unrepresented in a way where they don't want their own representation. And I'm actually working a deal right now where the buyer came in that's an agent. In order to work the deal, that agent said, because I'm the buyer, I don't want a real estate commission, but the price was lower. So I waived the buyer's fee, so I'm only taking the listing side. And then I sent a document to the other side that said no brokerage relationship, which means it's saying, I'm not your realtor, right? I'm going to do this transaction. I'll work on all the contracts with you and everything, but I'm not your advisor. I'm not your realtor. You're your own thing.
Right. I'm your transaction coordinator.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to turn. Oh, Johnny, you're better than me at this. Like, good for you. Yeah, transaction coordinator, right? So that always, now this person's an investor. They're sophisticated, so no big deal, right? They're used to it. But just be really careful of that. A lot of buyers out there you're going to start hearing some horror stories about this later
I will
on.
have no sympathy for anybody that goes through those horror stories either, because if you make that decision on one of the biggest transactions of your life, you might deserve what you get. It's kind of like you're facing a situation where you need a lawyer, and you're like, you have to have a pro in certain situations in life. And if you decide to circumvent that in the name of saving a few bucks, you get what you get. And I don't feel bad for you. I don't. I never will. I could try. And I know I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to find any sympathy for you. I'm just not.
Now that I'm thinking about this, I had a deal a few months ago. Remember that house I sold with the warehouse with the metal building on it? There were, we talked about a lot on the show.
Sure.
Well, buyers came from that saw our outside advertising. So they were unrepresented. They were first-time home buyers. They went there to look at the house, and they were trying to save money because they were going to do a construction loan with Mike. So they didn't want to pay for a septic tank inspection because it was almost the same amount as the regular inspection for the whole house. And I begged them, and I said, you really need to do this inspection. I didn't know and I was the listing agent. I didn't know if anything was wrong with the tank, but because they were my buyer, right, I had to say to them, in my opinion, hey, you really got to do this inspection. They said no. So I said, okay, I'm going to give you a form explaining that I recommended you did an inspection and you don't want to do it, and that's fine. But I need to cover myself because this is a big deal, because if there's a problem with the tank, you got a big problem. Did the inspection, found out the septic tank was cracked in like 10 places. That guy would have probably spent about $12,000 trying to save $500, right? I was the listing agent. I didn't have to tell him if he didn't. I didn't know the septic tank was cracked, by the way. I had no idea.
Sure.
But I
wouldn't know
told
until you got the inspection.
Right. But I told the buyer, you got to do this. Even though I was the listing agent, I was representing both sides, and I had to be fair to both sides. So, you really need to do this. And thank God we did. And he ended up not buying the house. He ended up buying another house from us another way. And then we sold that house to somebody else, right? The warehouse house. But not all people would do that. Some of them would just say, because they want the sale done for their seller, okay, you don't want to do inspection, fine with me, right? That's not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about what's happening in the market right now is what Fannie Mae is expecting about interest rates this year. And I did find this kind of be interesting. So Fannie Mae is saying that by the end of the year, they believe that our interest rates will be 6.1%. And they think at the beginning of by the end of 2026, we'll be at 5.8. So at the end, so a year and a half from now, we'll be at 5.8. Now think about that. That's a point drop. If they're right, in 18 months from now, we'll have a 1 point drop from where we are exactly right now, right? Because we're at 6.8.
Did they give any reason for their proposal here? Their
Let's see. Hold on.
Their prediction, if you will, because I just don't see how we get there.
Yeah, they're thinking that we're going to see. They don't. In this report, Fannie Mae didn't say why they're predicting it. They're just saying that what, at least in this article, I'm not saying Fannie Mae didn't say it. In this article, all they did is focus on what should change, not why it's changing.
So that's a worthless article.
Yeah, in my mind, it is a little bit too. But I did read this in a couple other articles where the numbers are right. They're predicting like 6% by the end of the year. They think we're going to drop 8.8 in the next 6 months. I don't think so.
Well, they just pitching a dart and that's what it landed on? I mean,
no, what
they
they're
gotta have
thinking
some
is
substance.
they're thinking that the tariffs are going to cause a slower economy, which is going to slow down everything, which means the feds are going to have to stimulate the economy. So they're going to start cutting the Fed rate, and that the Fed rate will spill in this time to the regular interest rates. That's the theory behind it.
So, but based on that theory, they're also assuming that inflation doesn't crank up, right? So,
right,
because the Fed only has two tools. They have two tools: slow inflation or spur the economy. Those are the two tools. They don't have any other tools in the toolbox. That's it. It's one or the other. And right now, the focus is on inflation. And I don't know, the tariff when they use the tariffs as a reasoning, it's like, okay, but this could go both ways.
Well, the thing I'm most worried about with the tariffs, if it even materializes, because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I don't think you should be worrying about the tariffs, truthfully.
But if it was an issue, what I'm more concerned about, and I'm still focusing on this from day one, I don't really care what the inflation rate is. I mean, it matters. I don't care about what I care mostly, unemployment. Because unemployment to me drives everything.
Sure.
Because once we start getting weak unemployment, everything starts crumbling because people are spending less. They can't afford to do stuff and all of that. I feel like that's the big thing. And right now, and I've been laser focused on that for so long to make sure that the unemployment, because I feel like once we start seeing that, like if you start hearing me, we're up to 4.6%, and then the next month, we just hit 5%, then I'm going to be saying on the show, hey, is this the beginning? Right? Is this the beginning of trend? If you're going to sell, got to sell now, right? If you're going to buy, maybe you wait a little bit at that point because you're going to see stuff go. Now, if somebody's listening to the show right now and goes, well, I'll just wait till December to get that 6% interest rate and 6.8. If you're on a super tight budget, that probably is a good idea and kind of keep an eye on it. But if the interest rates aren't going to make or break your deal, by the time that everybody realizes, and that the interest rates have dropped, it's going to be too late because everybody's waiting just like you. It's much better, if you can, to buy now, get the lower rate, get the motivated seller, give you extra bennies, get the developer to drop their price $40,000, give you a lower interest rate, give you closing costs, and do all that now.
Yep.
And then when the interest rates go down, then refi, then to buy during that time where the rates are down, because you're going to be fighting everybody else.
Yeah,
and those developers are going to raise the prices $40,000.
Yeah, your savings, it'll all wash out. I mean, it's I think you'll probably end up in a similar world and maybe even paying more if we lose a full point on the interest rate. I would suspect you'll pay considerably more because again, the buyer pool is going to jump up. It's going to fill in. That's going to be a magic number for a lot of people. A 5 in the first number there. It's going to be a magic number. And the numbers in your scenario is what should dictate it. Not, well, I'm going to wait for that. Well, you're going to wait for Fannie's prediction to come true, and they're not even giving you any substance as to why it's their prediction.
Right. That's the thing.
Let's use logic in your decision making.
And I wanted to mention that's true because what you're doing is you're waiting for a hope and a prayer that isn't guaranteed to happen. It's not guaranteed. This is their forecast, and let me tell you, Fannie Mae has changed their forecast like 5 times since November.
Of course,
right? And
because again, you're falling into the click trap. Like every article you read, the motivation is to get you to click it. Every single one of them, whether there's something there or not, the motivation is I gotta get people to click it, and just a headline might be enough. You got to find the real substance, and the real substance is right now is it's a good time to buy if you can financially afford it. It's a great time to be a buyer if your finances come together, because man, do you have options out there right now. And you don't have to say, I got to get this house right now. You can go see a few other houses and then circle back around with your seasoned agent, hopefully Jim Paola, and say, hey, which one do you think we get the best deal on? Slow play it, throw some offers out. It's a great position as a buyer versus the opposite where you're like, holy crap, I just got outbid by 10 other people. Now I don't get that house. Oh, I don't get that house or that house. Or what scenario do you want to be in? I like the first one better.
I remember during that time, Johnny, I just thought about this when you were talking about that. How many buyers I met during the frenzy where that's what they were waiting for, those super low interest rates. And then they realized they got beat out so many times. It's like, I put 10 offers in on houses and they all got rejected.
Well,
you know what they say?
Because you know what happened?
Do you know what they say? This is the funny part. This economy sucks. This real estate market sucks. I'm out. I'm going to wait until all the craziness goes away.
It's
Right.
a one
So
example.
Like, now the craziness
It's a great
goes
example
away.
as to why I utter words like, I hate people. You are so stupid. You can't get out of your own damn way. You can't make up your own
It's
damn
like,
mind.
you don't get it, right?
Oh, I hate you.
It's like people, sometimes they just don't get it.
No.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that's frustrated. Remember, we had that person, Kelly, call a bunch of times. She really wants to buy a house, but she's just not there yet.
Yep.
It's so frustrating when you see people like that because you feel really bad and you want to help them.
Well, I just hope that, if that desire is in play, I hope that the desire is being put in motion every day.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be I'm saving $10 a day, I'm working on my credit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you have that desire, you should be like Like I have a desire to be a better husband, father, friend, employee, and I strive for 1% improvement every day. And if I can nail it, man, that's awesome. If I get a 0.25, cool. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm flat. You know what I mean? But I try to get that little step forward every day because I'm motivated. It's what I want. If you want to be a buyer, every day you should be hopefully getting that little step closer. Because if you're not, you don't really want it. You think you want
You
it.
say you want
That's
it, but
right.
you don't want it.
There's
Like
a difference between doing and
you know what it's like, Johnny, because I was like that too when I bought my first home, right? I was a hot mess. I had horrible credit. I nearly defaulted on my student loans by that point. I was like over 180 days late on some of the stuff. I was a hot mess.
Yep.
But I had the team surround me. I was very blessed. It wasn't like I was in real estate at that point.
Oh, I was
And
truly blessed too.
yeah, and you know what it was like to go through the gauntlet because you wanted it,
Yep.
right? So all the other times when I was screwing around with my credit, not giving a darn or anything like that, once I decided I want to be a homeowner, then I manned up. And I was like, I got to fix all this stuff that I created for myself, and I'm just going to man up and go through the pain and make it happen. And it was a really great result at the end, and it was worth it. I can honestly say it was worth going through that and doing it. I feel like you feel the same way.
Oh, for sure. But you need help. Everybody needs some help. And you can get help in amazing places like FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. This isn't a sell, but you can get a tremendous amount of help with the pros. Knowledge is power. And even if it's just knowledge you're obtaining from this team to understand where you're at, you're in a way better position versus sitting there creating all the scenarios in your head like, oh, well, Fanny says that. Let's get in the reality, the real world. Your real is your numbers, your debt, your income. Like get an understanding of it and see. Like maybe you can't afford a home until there's a 5 in the first number. That might be your reality.
It might be that's the way it is, but you need to find out and then plan for it, because if you know that the number has to start with a 5 for the interest rate, well then you have to do all the stuff behind the scenes to make sure that your credit score goes up, that you're paying down your debt and getting lined up. So when that 5% hits, you're already prepared and ready to go. Right. But if you don't do that, you go through a lot of pain, you make a lot of mistakes. I kind of wanted to round up.
Know your numbers. Right? If there is one message that we really want
know
you
your
to,
numbers.
it's know your numbers.
Now, I wanted to talk about 2 of my properties right now, 2 specific properties. I have one that's in pre-foreclosure right now. It's a very rare situation lately. It's a
is that the Port St. Lucie?
It's the Port St. Lucie home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. It's wood frame. The frame seems to be in good condition. It's got a pool with a screen enclosure, and it basically needs everything. It needs a new roof, new kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring, new paint, probably new AC. Probably, I don't know if you're going to be able to clean the ducts, so the ducts are going to the duct work is going to have to be replaced.
Sounds like you're telling me this thing's a teardown.
Yeah, it is. It could be livable if you put and the pool's green, right? So if you fix the pool and the roof, the rest of the house is livable, but it really needs a full cosmetic rehab. It isn't, other than the roof and resurfacing the pool, there's nothing that I believe to be structural with the house. We'll find out during the inspection. But here's the thing. The investors that have been coming in to look at the house, most of them are saying they can't make enough money at the price that we're at. But if we try, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool home, and we have it listed at $250,000.
Oh, there's not enough meat on that bone for
as of last Friday, we were the lowest pool home in the city of Port St. Lucie, not the county, in the city, right? We were the lowest pool home property at $250,000. Now, that house needs about $70,000 of repairs, and it would be almost brand new everything, brand new roof, brand new AC, pool resurface with new mechanicals. You'd probably be able to do the kitchen and the flooring. And then you do the honeydews, like the painting, and then maybe the 2 bathrooms are functional and you do the 2 bathrooms later. And you'd have effectively a pretty brand new home that would be very well for the insurance because you'd have the new roof and everything at about $325,000 because you can use a 203K construction loan and get $75,000 as part of the purchase of the house to rebuild the house as you're buying it. Right. So if you rebuild that house and you buy for $250,000 and you take out that $75,000 construction loan with it, you'd have $325,000 into it, and the unit would be worth all day long $385,000 to $405,000. So instead of doing an FHA deal where you're buying a house and making it up for $400,000 and you put, $15,000 down, and that's the equity you have in the house is the $15,000 you put down on the payment. This, you're going to have the down payment on the $250,000, plus you're going to have all that extra equity from fixing up the house and making it new, right?
Yes.
So at $325,000, you'd have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a pool, really nice home in a nice neighborhood, no HOA, fenced-in yard on a corner lot for $325,000, pool home in Port St. Lucie. These are opportunities we haven't seen in years and years. So like first-time home buyers that feel like they're priced out for single-family home, priced out. Well, here's an opportunity where you can buy a house and fix it up to make it your colors, right? You pick the flooring, you pick the kitchen,
Sure.
You do all that. You pick the surface for the pool, right? You do all that stuff. And you're in for $325,000. We haven't seen this in a very long time where you could do these kind of deals. And if you're looking for that kind of deal, it's like, I love HGTV and I would love to do something like that, just like make the house myself and have the money to do it as part of the loan. You got to give us a call because we need to talk to you to get this house sold.
To get it going.
Now we have another one in West Palm. Now this one's off market because the seller wants it off market right now. And he has a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home in West Palm off of Haverhill Road. And with that house, you could buy that house for $350,000 and you probably put $50,000 into it. And the house is going to be worth at least $450,000. And the house already has a 2021 roof, metal roof. The AC probably needs to be replaced, but it's blowing cold now. It's probably going to eventually be replaced because it's older. And just normal cosmetic upgrading on the inside of the house. So 50 is plenty, and you'd have $50,000. You'd have over 10% extra equity besides the down payment you put in by doing a deal like that. And you can get the construction loan again. And with that house, if you do it right and you had enough money, it's an assumable loan at 3.25. So you can get about half of your purchase price of that home at a 3.25% if you can come up with the extra money, right?
That's remarkable.
So there's all these opportunities out there for buyers that are willing to do the fixer-upper. There's all these programs out there to get these homes that aren't in marketable condition, to get top dollar, and then buy those when nobody else wants to buy them. Use the construction money that you're getting. You don't have to pull it out of your pocket and get the deal done, okay? Mike is an expert. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is an expert on these construction loans. So if you're interested in these kind of construction loans, you got to give us a call. Hey, somebody just went on YouTube and subscribed to our channel. They must be listening to us right now.
Very nice.
Thank you so much for doing that.
And if you are on there, hit the subscribe button. Do that.
Yes, please. I don't ask that enough. So please hit subscribe and follow us. And we'd love to talk to you off air. We don't bite. You can call us on air. You can call us off air. We're the same off air as on air. We don't put on a show here. My favorite thing that people say to me all the time, you're just like the radio show. And I'm like, so, that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I am what I am.
That's right.
Right? I am what I am. So it's really important. It's really important to us that you interact with us because we love the Real Radio audience. They've been very, very good to us throughout all these years. I wanted to talk about a creepy critter before we land up, before we do it.
Nice.
If you don't mind.
Is this a new creepy critter?
Kinda. It's kind of this is even better. It's two creepy critters that have now genetically bonded with each other and have created a new super creepy critter.
Oh, this is cool.
This a new Johnny would like this one.
This
Okay,
is cool.
so hold on. Let me pull
How
this
come I
up.
haven't read this?
Yeah. Oh, I hope I can. Oh, here it is.
Super
Okay, here's the
critter.
article. We're going to get one of the pesticide companies that has worked with us in the past to come on and talk about a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to ask them about this. So the headline is on Channel 6 South Florida, new hybrid termites found in Florida. Why the experts are sounding the alarm.
Huh.
So it says researchers say the fusion of these two termites is not only unexpected, but potentially dangerous for homeowners across the country. The University of Florida has confirmed that a new hybrid of termites exists from Asian subterranean termites that have genetically bonded with the Formosa termites. So Formosa termites, well, a lot of people don't know about the Formosan termites. They eat concrete, right? So regular termites, they eat the wood and stuff.
Right.
But the Formosan termites, they'll eat your concrete foundation, your cinder block. They just love, they just eat everything.
Like the Asian snail.
So these two things have combined. They started mating with each other, and it's working, right? And they're saying that this could be really bad for the rest of the country. Right now, they think that in Fort Lauderdale alone, there's 20 to 25 million of these termites out there in Fort Lauderdale alone.
Where do they live? In the ground?
So the subterranean either live in the ground or they make these mud tunnels, like almost like in the wood, and then they use these tunnels and then they eat all the wood around it, right? Or these Formosan termites, I think they live in the ground too, Johnny.
Yeah, so they get into like they get into the trees that are dying and in the ground, and then obviously if they infiltrate any wood structures, they're gonna call that home until that's deteriorated completely. Huh.
And so these new hybrids are forming their own colonies. So they've created like a whole new ecosystem for themselves, like these melded ones.
Are they here legally?
Yeah, exactly. I think they came over on the boat.
Huh. That might be time to round these clowns up, huh?
Yeah. Oh, here's something interesting. I didn't know this.
Thank you.
I actually didn't know this, so I'll put this on Facebook page if you want to click on it. They IFAS, which is the International Florida Agricultural Services Division of the University of Florida, IFAS. They have a termite distribution map showing where all the termites are. Hold on.
Termite distribution.
Yeah, termite distribution. Oh my gosh, Southeast Florida, forget it. That's where they all are. They're all in Southeast Florida.
A couple weeks ago,
holy moly!
And it happens every year. We get a big explosion. I'm in Royal Palm, but out west, we get a big explosion of all these like flying, what look like little termites.
Mm-hmm.
And my pool, I had like 4 or 5 days in a row where they're just like thick, disgustingly thick. They all, for some reason, hit in the pool, and there's just swarms of them everywhere.
Wow.
And then it goes away. If anybody's, we're running so short on time, but I think those are termites, and we get an explosion of it every year. I just don't know exactly why or how to.
It's so hard about termites. When I had a wood frame home, I would see these ants crawling all over my house, and then I would see wings in my house.
The wings are the tell. Yeah.
And I had a couple of companies come over, and they said I had to tent my house. And then I had this one guy come, and he goes, "You don't have termite." He goes, "You might have termites at one point, but you don't anymore." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Your shell of your house is just consumed by bull ants, and these type of ants eat the termites."
Oh, the bull ants.
He goes,
yeah.
"You have the best protection in your house." Because I was complaining about all these ants crawling all over my house. They weren't on the inside of the house.
Bull ants eat the wood too.
Oh, will they?
Yeah, I think so.
He didn't mention anything about that, but he said, "You don't have to worry about anything about termites. These ants have destroyed your termites." And the reason why the bull ants were there, I had passion vines in my house on my fence, and they loved the passion vines, and then they got to the house. I guess they were eating the termites.
Huh.
So he goes, "You don't have to do anything." And I never did, and it was fine.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. So you guys should check out the University of Florida termite distribution map for termites in Florida, because oh my gosh, the whole southeast from basically St. Lucie down, we're screwed.
Well, I've always wondered. Remember, I worked at I don't know, maybe about a year with Hewlett. Great company. I enjoyed my time there. It just wasn't the timing wasn't perfect for me. I actually ended up with COVID. And long story short, there was a lot of termite control. Like they put the stakes in the grounds, and like, it was really prevalent. And I always wondered, is that kind of scammy? No, we have a lot of them in Southeast Florida. How about
I
that?
always wondered, by sticking the dead wood in your yard, if you're attracting them. That's what always bothered me. It's like, I know they're supposed to keep it away from the house.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're basically asking them to come to your house by putting that thing in there. I never understood it.
Yeah, come in. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Remember to take care of your dads. And if your dad's not around, I'm sorry, but I know, like in Jim's world, they will definitely be reminiscing on all the good times of Pops in years past. Take care of the dads. Remember, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Thanks for being with us on social today. Timothy, have a great weekend.